$82,800 of that should be earmarked for the employee benefits budget because we have to pay for the cost of insuring our employees.
By the way, just a back of the envelope number, if the entire school budget request, whether it's an override or whether it's funded in part or partial or complete this evening, would require in the vicinity of $200,000 of additional money to fund the town's, the employees' benefit budget. Okay.
Bob?
Yes.
At the same time, no budget includes unemployment insurance should we have to lay off.
Well, I don't think we have that problem at this point. We
Not
just
yet.
Voted on
Right, I'm just...
Okay.
Just
Oh, you mean in terms of the town side, yes.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we accept the additional school funding.
Okay, I'll accept the motion. Do we have a second?
What do we
Okay,
do?
further discussion. Further discussion.
Which one is it? The second?
For this second amendment. Go ahead, Steve. Yeah.
Just as a aside, in relation to that $83,000, that's 22% of that dollar amount. So you're 22% short of even getting to through priority one. So I just, it's.
All right, I misstated that when I made my comment.
So we have to come up with another $83,000 in order to get to priority one.
Any further discussion on this additional school funding section? Finance Committee?
I have a question concerning free cash in the fall. Snow and ice overage will come off the top of that. That's probably going to be about $300,000 contract or more.
I think it's in that ballpark or more, and I'd let Mr. Tassoni comment.
We've already, however, decided how we're going to spend a certain amount of free cash in the fall, funding the small cap items that are being postponed in April.
Right.
Do we have any sense of a rough idea of what kind of free cash we can expect to have certified, which we, I understand, will not know about until September, for fall town meeting exclusive of the Berry Center? And when you take into consideration the small cap items that can be funded in April, and in consideration also to the snow and ice deficit, are we actually going to have enough?
That's a fair question. Greg, we had discussed that.
At this time, there's no way of accurately predicting a free cash amount. The town needs to complete a balance sheet at the end of the fiscal year, which is in June. That's an exercise that's typically undertaken beginning about August 1st. And it's really, you really cannot predict what free cash we will have available. However, if you look at what the town has had in the past, it's had in the range of $1 million on the low side, which is this past fiscal year, and we've had as high as $1.7 million. So, I'm not going to commit to a specific dollar amount, but I don't think that that range would be unreasonable unless for some reason the town's receipts fell down. Remember, we have to also account for, in a soft economy, that receipts may fall down over the next few months. People may not pay their taxes, motor vehicle excise taxes may fall, and those things all are considered in terms of the free cash calculation. Your question is, do we have the money? I guess it's answered by the fact is we have reasonable expectation that we will be able to fund our snow and ice deficit, and that is our legal obligation going into the fall town meeting. Everything else is subject to discussion and negotiation based upon the availability of funds.
I would respond by saying that there are some unknowns, and if everything went wrong, we could fall short. But we do have the very money, and not that I want to use it for that. I know you're giving me this eagle eye look, but I know that at least if we ran into bad luck, there is funds there that we could get.
Yeah, I think I heard that proposal before.
Oh, yeah, right. We have a motion. Any further discussion? Does the Finance Committee have a,
Finance Committee has voted on this. I don't know if you want to vote first.
I would like to go first. Well, they voted against it. I'd like to reconsider.
Actually, we voted. If you vote yes, you won't be in trouble.
Yes, you voted yes.
What is it?
You voted to reconsider this article, and we've taken a vote.
But they're not going to tell us until we vote.
I will tell you
I'd like to hear their recommendation. I would like to hear their recommendation, their input.
We voted 8-0 in favor of this article with a number of concerns. The concerns are that there is a lot of money in the various parts of this, whatever, that are non-reoccurring debt. That's one issue. The other issue is that non-recurring revenues. The other issue is that there are a number of items in here which, while I know that the town is acting in a conservative and responsible way, are not money that we have in our back pocket yet. We don't have the cell tower revenue, that requires a vote at town meeting. We don't know if, for example, the health fees, the health insurance costs are actually going to go down. The ambulance fees, I feel a little bit more confident about. But there are a number of things like that. I'm a little bit concerned about the reduced vocational school assessment, for example. All right, so we basically have a vulnerability here if our ship doesn't come in. But given that there aren't a lot of choices in this world, we did vote to support it.
Thank you. On the board, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Now we get into the different part. And by the way, there were other things that were put up the previous week. There is a slide on that. And I'll entertain any other ideas that any other board or finance committee member might suggest as to what we can do to come up with additional revenue or cut savings in the town budget. Additional revenue is in the future there, Michael.
All right, I'll be quiet.
And we're going to talk about that on Monday night.
All right.
We want to take these one at a time? Probably have to. Mr. O'Leary.
Just in relation to the menu, and again, I appreciate the town administrator coming up with the menu. I think that's what we asked for, or I asked for last week. I need a bigger menu to choose from. None of it tastes very good. But either way, we're paying for it. Supersize, for sure. I don't, again, going back to what I said before, I think general government now has to step up to the plate a little bit and put our necks out in the line and some of our services out in the line so that the public is going to have to make some choices. I think the $495,000 is too steep. I don't think we should be cutting recreation totally to the bone. I don't think we should risk the accreditation to the library at this point. That being said, arbitrarily, I would suggest $50,000 additional in the recreation, library zero, and HR zero. That position again is too valuable to give up. That gets us to $274,000. It doesn't get us all the way to priority 2, but it gets us a little bit closer. So my suggestion, Mr. Chairman, would be, again, from changing from there, $50,000 recreation, zero library, and zero on HR, for a total of $274,000.
Okay, and what would be your recommendation associated with an override? Would you put those back?
I would absolutely restore them. Absolutely.
Restore all of them.
I would restore those along with the trash.
Along with the trash?
Along with the trash. And again, and then I would also include, again, it's up to the school department, but I think at least getting whatever the difference that needs to be made up between the benefits and then the rest of the restoration of the pyramid here included, so that an override question then would be a town-wide override where everybody has a vested interest.
Okay, so, are you making that in
Yeah, I
the
mean, that's
form
a
of a
form of
motion?
motion.
Do we have a second? I will second it, discussion purposes.
And my say,
I-
I'm all set.
Do you want to discuss his proposal, or do you want to hear ours first? I think it'd be proper to hear from the whole board first.
That's interesting.
I made a motion, you can, I made a motion, you can talk about that proposal, you can talk about something
Well,
else.
I was thinking, before you started with the motion, I thought maybe we should discuss each item, and then maybe we'd be able to put them together. So we can vote this one down, and then...
Well, the thing, we heard from all the department heads,
Yeah.
so we know what the impact is.
No, I wasn't questioning the impact. The question is, you know, there may be three, you know, we need 3 votes per item, right, basically, for approval, or 3 votes against, you know, whatever it happens to be. So if we do one at a time, we might find where there's some middle ground on some selection on the pick list. Marcy, would you flip the slide to, there should be another slide associated with the text that we talked about before, just to throw them up there again.
Is it later or?
It's probably earlier. I don't think I took it out. Well, maybe I did. You know what I did? I think I edited the...
That's the beginning.
All right. I'll have to pull up the other presentation. Just from as I recollect, what I had put up there before, there was the police was on there. There was a slight cut in the library, $100,000 of recreation. There was.
It's in there. Yeah, it was in your presentation. Other service cuts to consider.
The one from the last week's proposal,
Yeah,
was different from last week's proposal.
Let me pull it up.
The ones that we voted down altogether last week. From the low line.
Not F9?
Right, it included the insurance copay, Bob, and, right.
Right.
But I thought we said no, Bob.
Okay. No, just a second. In a previous board meeting, I had put up this slide. There was recreation, 100,000. Library was 25,000. This is when we were talking about reducing the library to the point where we maintained a certification. We found out later that we only had $5,000 we could cut. The police, we had left it to 2 staff. That's the same as what's on the other proposal. We had talked about a change in the copay of the employee insurance. And it was taking it from, I think it's a $5 copay to a 25, 15, and then the emergency room was, whatever it was, 25 to 100 or 50. The town administrator, you know, you're well aware that the health insurance has been a big driver of our inability to fund school and town government. And we are proposing to our labor unions going forward to go on the GIC program. And this would be something